Hello everyone, I am Scott, and today I will be showing you the secret to standing out as a landscaper. A little bit about me, I help landscapers grow their businesses. Currently one of our clients, we got him 8 jobs in the first month of starting with us, about $14,000 worth of jobs in the first month. Now, this video is completely for free. I'm just here to kind of hopefully provide you some value and teach you how to stand out as a landscaper. So, I'll give you a scenario, and let me know if this is currently what's going on in your business and in your market. Now, this video is for you if your market or you feel like your business is competing on price and you don't want to compete on price, right? So, how do you not compete on price in your market? There's a couple things we can do, but one of the most important things is actually, first of all, being able to stand out from the rest of your competition. Now, the way to stand out from the rest of the competition is by doing the opposite of this. Doing the opposite of this is not to compete on price, but instead is to compete on value. Because when you compete on value, you're not offering or competing on the same thing as everyone else. And I'll give you some examples in a little bit. Now, how do you compete on value compared to price? It's pretty simple. Let me break it down and give you an example on what that looks like. Now, let's look at two different offers that that kind of do the same thing, but are very differentiated based on the value that they provide. You have one is we mow lawns. So this is like 99% of the landscape / lawn care companies offer. Then you have something right here, golf course lawn year round, right? So this is obviously targeting some customers who want a golf course type of lawn in their home or in their backyard, front yard, whatever. Now, how much would you say these typically run for? If I were to guess, I would say anywhere between $40 to, depending on the market, $160, right? And this could be weekly or bi-weekly. Now, how much do you think something like this would run, right? I mean, it's probably one of those, since it's year-round, so it's probably assumed annual plan instead of a bi-weekly or a monthly. Now, the service can probably be a weekly service, just to keep maintenance up. So probably an annual type of offer. They probably had a big one-time fee in the beginning to get everything sorted because, not everybody's grass is going to be ready to become a golf course type of lawn. There needs to be something, set in place, whether that's, fertilizing, whatever it is. So there's probably a setup or a first-time fee. Kind of like if you were to mow someone's grass and it's their first time working with you and it's super overgrown, you're not going to charge them a weekly rate, for that first cut, right? So this can probably be in the range of like, I don't know, maybe 300, 400 plus a month plus. They probably, now since it's annual, you multiply that by 12 and then there's probably that first time fee. So this is already in the thousands, right? And they pretty much offer the same service. They both cut grass, right? Now, if you tend to look around, depending on like where you live, like my grass, it's not golf course lawn, but it gets pretty close in my opinion. Like I'm not trying to be perfect and, like 2 inches, right? When somebody mows it, it looks like golf course lawn. Now, if somebody pays for this, obviously they have the budget and, let's say you can perform this service, you're pretty much like after that one-time setup where you're now just maintaining it, you pretty much actually do the same amount of work or probably less work for more money, right? Because here you're providing value and you're competing on value. Here you're competing on price. How many people can do this? A lot of people. How many people can do this? Not a lot. At least a lot of people don't think they can do this. Now, with the right amount of money, and if you have a lot of experience, you can probably knock this out. And The only difference between both of these is that this is using what I call the value equation. This is just a product or a commoditized service. Commoditized service just means there's so many people that offer it that customers who see that offer, they just compete on price and they like buy based on price. Now, if you have customers looking specifically for a golf course lawn year round, they know it's going to cost more than this because not everyone offers this service. Now, what if you were the person to offer this specific service? You're able to charge higher, you have practically no competitors, and you're probably doing less work. Now, how do we actually turn your, one of your services into a competition on value, not price? We use this framework that is called the value equation framework. I'm going to write this out real quick. Okay, so this is the value equation framework, and it might look a little complicated, but I'll break it down to you. So value equation framework is just 4 of these things inside of your offer. Now, your offer, right? What we want the offer to have is, what's the dream outcome, right? What does the customer actually want, right? Typically, customers want a transformation. So what's their dream outcome? They want a transformation. So golf course lawn would be the dream outcome in this example, right? And here, there is a dream outcome. It's your lawn's mowed, right? Now, typically, the reason why there's 4 parts to the value equation to like make a good offer is these support each other. So if you can have like one of these, but it won't provide as much value compared to having all 4 of these, right? So for example, here, there's one thing, the dream outcome, right? But there's not a lot of other things to support it. Now, dream outcome is the transformation your customers want. Likelihood of achievement, what does that mean? So that's basically how likely can you get them the dream outcome. This is typically presented through 5-star reviews, before and after photos, previous work, other clients' testimonials, social proof, things like that. Basically, showing your expertise and that you can actually get them this dream outcome, right? Compared to like if you were doing golf course lawn and you've never even cut grass or gone on a mower or anything like that, what's the likelihood you'll be able to achieve the dream outcome? Very low. Now, we have then at the bottom is time delay. So how long will it take for them to get the dream outcome? The faster it is to get the dream outcome, the higher the value of the offer is, which means you can charge more. And then effort and sacrifice is how much effort / sacrifice does the customer need to do to get the dream outcome, right? Typically, the lower the effort and sacrifice on their end, the higher the value, the more you can charge. Now, this isn't like a fully drawn out value equation, like it doesn't have everything on here. This is just kind of like a one-liner thing you say, right, for your offer. So the golf course lawn, that's the dream outcome, right? Year round is also a part of the dream outcome. Now, if you were to make this stronger in terms of adding more of the value equation framework in here, you can do, now take this with a grain of salt, this is just an example, time delay, right? Golf course lawn in 30 days, right? So that's the time delay, effort sacrifice without to lift a finger. So obviously, this is the effort and sacrifice. Here's a small example. It's just without them having to do anything, they can get the dream outcome, which is the golf course lawn in 30 days, right? And for the likelihood of achievement, you have done it before. So you have before and after photos. And you also have, like, let's say 100 plus 5-star reviews. So this makes this offer pretty compelling. It's, hey, we'll get you a golf course lawn In 30 days, it's going to last a year, and you don't have to lift a finger. It's a pretty compelling offer. So just applying the value equation framework will allow you to stand out from your competition, because you're not just going to be one of those guys who's like, well, mow your lawn, right? You're actually offering a transformation. And these are, like I said, these are pretty much almost the same amount of work, or at least if it does require extra work, which it will in the beginning on this type of offer, at least you'll get paid more and you'll get paid what you actually want, right? Because now customers aren't thinking, oh, why is it so expensive? No, they're thinking, okay, as long as you can get me dream outcome, right? Because then these guys aren't offering this. So this is just one of the ways to stand out from your market. And from what we've seen with the data is your offer is the most important thing for people to actually want your type of service, because a lot of people offer this. This isn't an offer. This is just a commoditized service. You want an offer which is a service that stands out from the rest of your market. And the easiest way to stand out from the rest of your market, especially in a saturated market like landscaping and lawn care, is to do the complete opposite, or at least don't do what everyone else is doing. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to increase your reviews so you can build your credibility and you can actually be able to charge higher prices with your services. And if you want the value equation framework, I have a PDF downloadable in the description below. It's inside of our free community of high-ticket landscapers. And in there, we share resources like these. You can also ask questions in there if you have any specific questions about your business. We'll be more than happy to ask it. And you can be actually one of the founding members of the community since we just launched it not too long ago. So feel free to go down in the description and click that. And I'll talk to you next time.